السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم بفيديو جديد. في البداية بحب أشكركم على تعليقاتكم المحترمة عندي على القناة. في فيديو النهاردة معانا أجنبي في المغرب بعد أول زيارة له أصبح بيعشق حاجة اسمها المغرب طبعا، وبيحذر تحذير شديد اللهجة. طبعا يا جماعة ممنوع تفعل الحاجة ديت في المغرب. إيه السبب اللي يخليه يقول كده؟ بس طبعا قبل ما نقول إيه السبب اللي هو قال كده، ليه يعني احنا قلنا العرب بيعشقوا حاجه اسمها المغرب بعد ما نزلوا من المغرب، وكمان الاجانب زي ما احنا شفنا اهو. تيجي نشوف مع بعض الفيديو، يلا بينا يا جماعه.
Okay guys, in this video I'm going to give you some travel tips about what to expect when you come to Morocco, what you shouldn't do, conversely what you should do, and generally some advice which is going to help you enjoy your time here more. If you come with an open mind, with an educated mind, you're going to have a better time here.
Yes.
So, let's get straight on into it. Firstly, when you arrive, don't expect to get through passport control quickly. Security's pretty harsh here, there's going to be long queues. Personally, I had a good hour, but I've heard 3 hours isn't unheard of. It can really take a lot of time, so just expect that. Bring some patience with you always, and know that it can take time. There's no way around it, it is what it is. Secondly, when you're coming into the country, do not bring a drone. They're not allowed here. There's a good chance it'll be confiscated. You'll waste even more time being asked questions about it. Just leave it away. Do not bring a drone here. Now another preparation tip, which is really commonplace for any country you visit, but make sure you bring plenty of different cards. Personally, I found that my normal bank card wouldn't work in any ATMs here. That was a Dutch issued Maestro card. Wouldn't work anywhere here, so completely useless to me. If I was relying on that, I'd have problems. My Visa card, on the other hand, that could be used in any ATMs that I use. That wasn't a problem, so I was glad to have that with me, but make sure you're prepared on that front always. On the other hand, the Visa card is useful in an ATM, but don't think that you can use that everywhere. Cash is king in this country, so you're probably going to end up always having cash withdrawn, but using a Visa credit or debit card to actually withdraw it. So leading on to that, as well as, of course, bringing money, make sure you bring some small denominations. Of course you won't have that initially, but whenever you get the chance to get some change, get some change. Start collecting those 20 dirham notes. Start collecting the coins, the 10s and 5s. You're gonna need them. You're gonna be tipping all the time. Tipping is expected in this country, so be prepared for it. One thing I guarantee is not everyone will have change, or at least they say they won't have change. So be prepared. And as I say, just make sure when you get the chance to get some change, get it.
واحد القضيه غادي نعلق عليها هنا. قال لك راه كيوصيهم، قال لهم خصك تجي معاك الصرف الا كنتي جاي. راه اغلب ديال الناس راه ما عندهمش الصرف، ولا على الاقل كيقول لك راه ما عنديش بالعاني. وهاد القضيه راه كاينه. هاد القضيه راه بالنسبه لي انا كمغربي راه حتى انا كنطيح فيها. كتقدى عند شي واحد شي حاجه كتجبد ليه 200 درهم كيقول لك ما عنديش الصرف. بالنسبه لهاد القضيه راه كتوقع حتى للمغاربه، واللي مغربي راه غيتفق معايا. يقدروا يديروها ليه هو كسائح باش يدغمروا في هذاك الصرف، ولكن راه كتوقع لنا حتى حنا كمغاربه. الا كاين شي واحد عنده شي اجانب يشرح لهم هذه القضيه هذه.
Now, one thing I found was quite unusual here. I've travelled to a lot of Islamic countries, but in Morocco here, don't assume that you can go in the mosques. The mosques are closed to non-Muslims. There's one exception that I know of, and that's the big mosque in Casablanca, which incidentally is a must visit. That is a truly wonderful sight. But anywhere else, do not try and go in. You'll be promptly shown out. Just the way it is, their culture, we have to accept that. And coming on from that, of course, Friday is the Islamic holy day. So expect a lot to be closed. Morocco is quite a strictly Islamic country, really. So the Medinas, even like the ancient Medina of Fez or Marrakesh, most stuff is going to be closed on a Friday. You're not going to see much life there. So expect that. If you're here on a Friday, make other plans. Don't try and visit the Fez Medina on a Friday. You'll be wasting your time. You won't see the life of it. And also, relating to Islam, the call to prayer is taken very seriously here, so show your respects to it. You'll note that if you're in a cafe or a bar or something like that, the music will go off for the call to prayer. Activity will slow down. That's expected. That's the way things are done. So also just take a calm moment, step back, respect it, and things will promptly continue on after. Now, getting around is one thing that confused me at first quite a bit. There are buses and there's trams in certain cities, but the networks, certainly on the trams, they can be useful, but they can be quite limited from a tourist point of view and tourist sites. So you're going to end up taking taxis, but don't assume that all taxis are the same. They're not. There's typically, from what I've seen in, I think every city I've been to in Morocco, there's two different styles of taxis. There's taxis which are for an individual person, so one individual journey, and they're not as commonplace. I've not really seen so many of those around. In fact, I've never taken a single one of those. And then there's I believe they call them petit taxis, and these are basically share taxis. So you can flag one down, it's going in your direction, there's someone else in it, and you can join the ride. They'll use a meter, they always should use a meter, of course, always check, and the price will be dirt cheap. I believe sometimes they might tell you there's a 10 dirham minimum, so €1, very, very cheap. Other times they won't even say that, so they're probably having you on with the minimum, but in any case it's no money at all. I'd probably tip it up to that anyway for a reasonable journey that I wouldn't walk. But yeah, so you're going to get these taxis. So assume that a lot of the time if you do wave one down, it's not going to be going the direction you want, it's not going to go the place you want, or maybe you'll have to not quite go to the place you want. And of course communication can be a little bit hard because they typically won't speak English, they'll speak Arabic, speak French. So you have to work around that. Your best bet that I've found is to take one of these share taxis that doesn't have any people in. If you're the first one getting the ride, you've got more chance of getting the ride in the direction and the exact place that you want to go. As long as the taxi drivers are willing to go there, it's worth his while to go there. Don't assume, but most of the time they do use the meter, but always check. And with the other taxis that, as I say, I didn't use, they don't tend to use a meter. I did negotiate with a couple of times. So, as with pretty much everything in Morocco, negotiation is key. Do not accept whatever price they tell you at first. Chances are they're going to be charging you way too high. Know if you can what the journey should cost through a local, through someone else, and make sure you negotiate it. Certainly don't put up with the first price. But on the other hand, when you can, do make use of the public transport options. In cities like Casablanca and Rabat, they're not going to get you everywhere, but they might get you on certain journeys, even if it's just from the train station to some destination in the city centre. They're dirt cheap, they're very modern, they're very good, definitely make use of them. The public transport where it exists, and there is a pretty good infrastructure here in Morocco, is very good standard. It's like Western Europe standard. The trains, if you can travel around by train, do it. The trains are superb. They're very, very fast on certain lines, like I believe from the Casablanca to Rabat route. It's a fast TGV that goes up to 300 kilometers an hour. Superb, comfortable. A first-class ticket costs really very little by Western Europe standards, but the quality is right up there the same. So always take those if you can. Some routes you have to take the bus, like if you go into Chefchaouen, there's no trains that go there. The buses, they're comfortable enough, they are a bit more expensive than the train, and they're going to be a lot longer. There's going to be numerous stop-offs on the way. I think the stop-offs often, for my liking, are too long, but I understand the driver will basically stop off a call to prayer time. He'll also have lunch at the same time. You can end up with a half-hour stop-off. It really can pad out the journey. But some routes you have to do it, and so be it. It's a way to get around when you have to do it, but the trains are way better. Now, some general little things when you're here in Morocco. You'll read on the internet that the tap water's safe to drink, and maybe that's true to a certain extent, but it certainly doesn't taste very good at the very least. Whether it's going to make you have an upset stomach, I don't know, but you're going to end up drinking bottled water here. It's what everyone does, so expect that. And another small but important tip, it's worth just carrying around a little bit of toilet paper. If you're going to be on the road, if you're going to be on a train, if you're going to be on a bus, or even if you're just out and about, you can end up going into a squat toilet or even a Western style toilet and there'll be nothing. Sometimes there will, sometimes there won't. Don't get caught short. Expect it, be prepared. Now, of course, the markets, the souks, are going to be a big, big thing when you come to Morocco, and they are absolutely a joy. The Medina of Fez is legendary, as is the Medina of Marrakesh. So there's some things that you're going to need to know about these though, because they're legendary, they're quite an experience, but you can also get in quite some trouble in these places if you don't know what to expect, if you're not looking out for yourself. So, first things first, pay attention. There will be pickpockets there. In busy areas, be aware. Don't be paranoid, but be aware. Don't assume that everyone is there to help you when you're in the markets. There will be people who are going to come up to you, offering to help, offering to give you advice, but there's going to be another agenda generally. They're going to be fake guides perhaps, they're going to be wanting to take you to a shop, or perhaps a common thing that I saw in Marrakesh was if you look like you don't know where you're going, then they'll quite happily lead you there, and then they'll demand pretty ridiculous sums of money to actually take you there. These guys, and don't get me wrong, this is the minority, but they are there, and they will absolutely prey on any weakness that you show. So, of course, the best way is don't show that weakness. Always look like you know where you're going if you can, and if you can't, just be strong, just say no, just carry on walking. At the same time, when you're in the Medinas, you will get lost. These places, they're dauntingly big. Google Maps won't correctly work. In some cases, you're going to get lost, but don't worry about it. It's part of the experience, it's part of the joy just wandering around slightly lost, as long as you got time there. Now, when you're shopping, if you are actually shopping in the market, don't expect the price you're given to be the actual price. Haggling is expected and relentless. You're going to be given some crazy, crazy high price, which is nothing like the reality. With haggling anywhere, you need to understand what the true value of the product is. It's basically the result of the negotiation should be a win-win for both parties. What will give them enough profit that they're happy to sell it, and what is the price that you're happy to pay that you think it's worth. It will take time, and you may like it, you may not like it, but it is the way here. You have to go through it if you want to shop here in the markets.
بغيت نقطع واحد الحاجه صغيره. هو كيهضر هنا على الثمن، قال لك راه كيقول شي واحد كيقول لك شي ثمن خيالي. راه كاينين شي ناس، انا راه زرت بزاف ديال البلاد، كاينين شي ناس كيجيو هذا الشيء غريب وكيجيو هذا الشيء. راه كاينين ناس خدامين في السياحه فعلا ما خصهمش يغلوا على الناس، ولكن راه كاينين شي ناس خدامين في السياحه راه كيخدموا غير على الضريبات هادو. كاين اللي كيبيع شي حاجه كتلقاه 3 ايام يومين ما تسفال. راه هو السائح راه في اي بلاد، في ايطاليا، فرنسا، اي بلاد مشيتي لها راه كتلقى بحال هاد الناس هادو، كتجي كخصو يضرب فيك الهمزه، وهما كيكونوا العرب بيناتهم ولا حتى هما في اوروبا بيناتهم، ولا بانت في الغفله كيعطيه للراس.
But don't assume that you can do that everywhere. If you're going in the new city, if you're going in a normal high street shop, there's not going to be the haggling there. That's just like anywhere else. It's just going to be the set prices written on the label there. Now, food. One of the joys of Morocco. There's some wonderful, wonderful food here. Of course, the most famous thing is the tagine. But don't expect the tagine is one dish. The tagine is just the pot they cook it in. So a tagine can be anything. It's simply whatever ingredients cooked in that pot, slow cooked using this method, and resulting in typically wonderfully, wonderfully soft tender meat. Or fish, but certainly not one dish. You could be here for as long as your vacation, have a tangine every day, and have an entirely different one. Now, if you're vegetarian, don't worry on that front. There's plenty of vegetarian food as well. Yep, you'll see a lot of meat on the menu, but there's plenty of vegetarian options and good vegetarian options.
Good vegetarian options.
However, don't necessarily expect food to be quick. Fast food here is not so much of a thing. It takes time, at least proper food. However, when I say that fast food isn't a thing, this is a bizarre anomaly that I've found in Morocco. It seems that either for basically giving foreigners what maybe they want, or maybe because just Moroccans like it, there's a lot of Western junk food. So I've been literally looking for Moroccan food in certain places, like the Corniche of Rabat for one example, and I literally see pizza, burger, all of these things just repeated. So much pizza, even what looks to be a nice restaurant, and they got pizza on the menu. Just finding plain Moroccan food can actually sometimes be hard. You have to go a little bit out of your way. And then don't expect Google Maps, what you see on there, don't expect that to actually exist. I found a lot of the time I'll look up a nice Moroccan restaurant, I'll walk there, not there. However, you just walk around, you see what you see and you'll find some gems. Keep persevering, you'll find some great
وبكده يكون وصلنا لنهاية الفيديو، ويا رب لو الفيديو عجبكم تدعموا القناة بلايك وباشتراك، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.